Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangl.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by Fully Funded Life. We're here to help you live your fully funded life with right now relevant financial information, helping you along life's way, encounter all those money challenges and issues, and that money stuff. Today, I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Megan Hibbard. How are you doing on this fine Monday?
Doing good.
Yeah.
The end of March.
Yeah.
Almost April.
Okay.
One day closer to summer.
Great.
Which I get excited about.
Hallelujah. I know you love summer.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure I'm with that. It's one of my 4 favorite seasons. Yeah. We have special season here in South Carolina known as Inferno, Raging Inferno.
It does get hot.
Yeah, it gets really hot.
Yep.
But this is a very special session.
Yes.
Yes?
This is episode 247, and we are going to talk about your current investments. So each year you release your current investments of what you've been investing in the last year and your prognostications.
Yes.
Really hard on saying that word. And
excellent job.
Thank you. On the upcoming year and all that is entailed in that. So we thought we would give you guys a little bit of a peek into that, maybe the why behind some of it.
Yeah. And I share this a very detailed update with the Fully Funded Life family. Yes. And I, the one thing you know about forecasts is they're wrong. And so this is a beautiful time each year, every March, when I hold myself accountable to my very own prognostications and see how right or wrong I was. And so it's a fun thing for me to do each year.
Yep.
So you have a bunch of questions. I'm a little frightened of them.
Yes.
Should I be frightened?
I haven't actually seen them.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So the first question is, when did you start your investment updates?
I started a weblog. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Web blogs, also known as blogs, on blogger.com. It had to be 2006, January of 2006. I think I started my investment updates either in 2007 or 8. And they've become more pronounced.
Yeah.
I first started out by just saying, this is what I have as investments, period, with little commentary. And over the years, I've gotten more verbose. I've decided to write more about it. And because people have more questions, plus it's something that's intellectually activating for me. I like it. I like it. I like the research it forces me to do. Yeah. And so, probably about 15, 16, 17 years, something like that.
Are you often right or wrong in your prognostication?
Yes.
I'm
probably about 50-50.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, what made you start doing this update each year?
Well, I started doing the update because investing questions outnumber any other question 10 to 1. They just do. The world of investing is fraught with a lot of people's voices. There's a froth of people saying, do this, don't do this. And it's crazy. You'll have people that are, highly regarded who will be polar opposites on a specific type of investment at a given date and time. And so I just said, hey, I'm going to share my investments. I am not an investment advisor. I have no dreams of being an investment advisor. I want to be a consumer advocate. And so I just said, hey, I'm going to do something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And it made me uncomfortable, but I wanted to be able to share it as a thing that was working for me. Is it the best thing I could have done? Well, looking in reverse, of course not. But has it done amazingly well? Yeah. Yes. And so, that's why I share them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. What do you hope people can come away with from having learned?
What do I hope people learn from it?
Yeah, like when they finish consuming the content.
Well, my hope is that they've learned a mindset, that they can hear a little bit about my mindset, what has allowed me to become an effective investor, and having done it since I started investing in my 401k at age 22. So that would put it about 27 years of investing, which is unbelievable to even say that out loud. And to become a serious investor when I became debt free at about the age of 30, I became a very serious investor, expanding not only into mutual funds and stuff available within my 401k, but into individual stocks and on into real estate and into other similar investments. Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of hit on this a little bit, but is this course or this your current investments, is this a here what you should invest lesson? And if not, then tell our listeners what they could expect.
Yeah. So is it a invest in this, don't invest in that lesson? Absolutely not. That's not what it is. My hope, as I said, what I want people to walk away from it having learned, I want them to learn a mindset. And that's really what I provide the update for, is to do a mindset, but also to educate. Fully funded life exists to have, it has a huge educational component. And we know that there are certain principles that will be just as true 1,000 years from now as they are today. But we know that the laws around them can change your approach to them. We know that the language, the 401k is section 401 part K of the IRS tax code. In Canada, it's the RSPs and the TFSAs. That language may not always exist. They may change how that happens. How stocks happen, how mutual funds happen, the regulations around them, around real estate changes based on the complexity of the population. If you're in New York, 150 years ago, real estate was, it was kind of an open market. But now, because it's such a dense population, they have rent controls. Well, rent controls profoundly change whether or not something is investable or not. The same thing is happening in the short-term rental markets. You could have a beach house that you're allowed to do short-term rentals on. If they change that law and say you can't rent this out by the week or by the day, it fundamentally changes the level at which you're willing to invest. And so we just want to make sure that we're speaking not to what they should buy, but to educate, to inform, to connect them to information sources, to be an aggregator. And be one of those coaches that's in their ear helping guide them on their coaching, on their investments.
So a lot of people, when they hear Joe's current investments or, we're doing a course on that, a lot of people just think stocks. Like, oh, he's going to tell stocks. But is that just stocks, or is this a overview of your portfolio, or what does it look like for that? Well,
one of the things that we teach in Fully Funded Life is something called the 100K rule. And the 100K rule is a Joe Sangl rule. I'm very clear about that. And you should have your own number rule. But part of that rule is, hey, once you get 100K into some form of investment, of equity in a real estate investment, or if you've got it all in a 401k, which is most common, you should start considering another type of investment. Not to cease that one that has gotten you there. Continue to do that type of investing, but consider others that could be a potential type of investment for you. And so, no, it is not just about stocks. So I started out with the world of mutual funds. That's what I started out with. Then I ventured a little bit into stocks, kind of bloodied my face a little bit with my first terrible stock purchase that promptly went to zero in 4 days. And then I got some Allied Signal stock. I worked for Allied Signal. Bought some Honeywell stock. Allied Signal they bought Honeywell, took the Honeywell name. And then I started slowly but surely adding on a few investments that I thought would be good long-term investments. I quickly discovered I don't have an appetite for crazy risk. I will always have one or two ridiculous, what I call greedy money investment stocks, where it's very speculative. It's new technology or something like some of these EV competitors to Tesla or whatever. You'll always see that I have one or two of them, but rest assured, they represent 0.0001 of my portfolio, right? It's just a dabble. And, if it goes to $1 billion, I'll probably have $1,000 and be really sad that I didn't invest more. But I am a value investor. And so people are going to see that I invest in real estate, that I invest in precious metals, I invest in small businesses, I invest in starting up small businesses, buying small businesses. that's kind of my passion, is to have a well-diversified portfolio within the stock market, but also outside of it. So I share a little bit about all that.
That's good. All right. And I know if you've been around long enough, every March we kind of talk about this. You release your current investments. So is it something that you only review once a year, or is it more than once a year, or how is that process of you reviewing, analyzing, making decisions throughout the rest
So
of the year?
you've surely seen this. You probably saw it when you came in today. We have a conference room. If it's not in use, I'm really frustrated when I don't walk past that empty conference room and the TV's not turned on to CNBC.
Yep.
Like, it needs to be on there. I want to see market news when I walk by to go get a snack, because we like snacks around here.
Love snacks.
And we usually have a good snack source here.
We do. Yeah.
I think your boy probably likes it. Logan gets his snack. What's his favorite snack
anytime
here?
We're close. He's like, "Can we go by your office?" I'm like, "It's a Saturday. We probably don't need to go by there."
You can go by there on Saturdays. We don't mind that. Kids can always get snacks. And I will promise you, I've come by on a Saturday before and got a snack for the kids, popcorn or whatever it was. But when I walk past there, I want to see that. But so that I'm constantly feeding myself information. When I open up my browser, which I still use Firefox, I use Chrome a little bit and I use Safari a little bit, but I use Firefox. I know that many people don't. But I have all these tabs that open up, over 70 of them when I open up my browser. And I would say a good half of them are focused on investing. Some form of investing, real estate investing, stock market investing, mutual funds, small businesses, stuff that's funneling me information. And it takes me about 15 minutes to get through all of them, because I'm just reading it for headlines. Okay, I want to read that later. I'll email it to myself and to my private email box to say, hey, I want to read this, comment on this, something like that. But I actually do a detailed review of my investments at least every 2 months. I have a net worth calculator that, we have one available on our website, and I track my net worth. Mine is much more complex than the one that we share for free on the website and on Fully Funded Life. But I go snapshot the value of every single thing. Now we have credit cards with the business. And so I have also done some debt on some real estate investments. So I track my value of the asset, which is easily given on a mutual fund or stock. You can just go find it on the websites. I keep the value of real estate steady. I will adjust it at most once every 3 years. I don't know what real estate's really worth, So I just leave it the same. But I'm updating the debt that's owed against it. Our credit cards, we do pay them off every month, but at any given time when I'm updating it, there's probably a balance being carried that is not due yet because it hasn't closed yet or posted or whatever they call it. But I'm capturing that because that is a liability of the company, which means I owe it. And so I make sure I track that, and I calculate my net worth at least every 2 months. And I rarely make a decision based on it. Like, I rarely say I need to dump that or buy that. I'm doing it to just track what's going on. Because, again, I'll state it again, I'm a value investor. Value investor means I buy businesses that are in general profitable, businesses that are doing good by society in general, that they have been around a while and they're sharing those profits with me, the shareholder, the owner, called dividends. So in general, that's what I'm investing in. So I'm not looking for the craziest rate of return. I'm looking for more steady, long-term plays. Most of the stocks and mutual funds that I own, I've owned for 20 years. Wow. And I've just added to the positions. So I'm very boring. It's kind of like vanilla ice cream. It's worked very well for us.
Yeah.
I also would just tell you, right before we were doing this podcast, I was reading Warren Buffett's annual letter to shareholders from Berkshire Hathaway. Mm-hmm. I am a shareholder of Berkshire Hathaway. I want to know what he has to say, not just because he's running Berkshire Hathaway, but because I think there's a lot to be gained from him and his partner, Charlie Munger, who are both in their 90s.
That's wild.
And he is humorous. I appreciate his very quick wit. And it's 10 pages of scintillating reading for me. I can't wait every year. I print it out. I comment on it in my annual update. I will comment on things that spoke to me that he shared. But one of the things that stood out to me was he was saying, yours truly, he refers to himself as yours truly, has made some very poor investing decisions through the years. I love humility, and it's genuine humility. Number two, in spite of that, I've made a few fantastic decisions. Many of them became fantastic, even though I didn't know how fantastic they were at the moment. And what I think is interesting, he said, I have an endless rabble of not very good investments, but I've had a few who've been gold mines. And he said, what I've learned is that it only takes one or two winners in the midst of a bunch of losers for you to do very, very well. He was sharing about, I'll give one example. He bought Coke stock, and he bought 400 million shares, something like that. Sure. Something like that. 400 million, 400,000, I don't know. It was a lot.
A lot.
It was $1.3 billion worth. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And he bought that in, I think, 94, 95. And he said it paid dividends of $75 million that year to Berkshire Hathaway, thereby Berkshire Hathaway shareholders. That's a lot. But they invested $1.3 billion. So they got about 6% on return, on profit. He said today that same stock is returning, he's bought no more, is paying $750 million in dividends.
Whew.
That's pretty good, 27 years later. And he said, and the value of that stock, because of retained earnings that Coca-Cola has reinvested and expanded their brand, is now worth $25 billion. And I think you look at that and say that's 27 years. He never changed his position after he bought it. And it has become one endless gusher after another. And he credits that as one of the major things that has allowed them to prosper so well. And so I would just say to each person who would participate in our investing update that I put together every year, I'm not trying to be your investment advisor. What I'm trying to do is do what we do with everything we do in Fully Funded Life, and that is to educate people, to let them have insight to one person's investments, and to be able to say, this is what has worked for me. I'm going to share with you things I've learned over the past year. I'm going to tell you how good I did at prognosticating this last year, and I'm going to give you my prognostications for the next year. And so it's at no added cost. So you might say the advice is worth what you're paying for, which might be zero.
Yeah.
You laughed a little too readily at that.
I'm sorry.
Anything you want to add to that? Like, what do you think when you help put this together and you help send it out to people?
Yeah, no, I think it's always super helpful. I think it's helpful just to see, like you literally list out what it is and you have the ticker symbols and so people can easily find it and like do their own research on it and figure out if they want to invest in it or not. But so I think that's helpful. I think you also show a pie chart of the different percentages of what you're investing in.
Right. How much is real estate? How much is small business? How much is stocks? How much is mutual funds?
Really helpful for people to see, oh, okay, well, when he talks about that, it's this much of his whole, overview. So I think that's helpful. And then I think just for people to hear about the past year and looking forward, I think a lot of times investing is a confusing topic. And so to have somebody talk about it in a way that they can understand it and be like, oh, okay, so when that happened, that's what that meant. That I think is really, really helpful to somebody who's not in the day in, day out knowing everything about investing. So yeah, I think it's really helpful. I think people should definitely check it out.
I just want to state it. One other thing is every time I update it, I am dumbfounded at the good thing the Lord has done for me. I mean, I started out with an average bank balance of $4.13 way back when, broke as a joke, a bunch of debt. And when I look at it and say, wow, all this happened through just a long, steady focus and a whole lot of the Lord's blessing. And I want to share it with as many people as possible so that, because this stuff is all available to all of us. We just have to be willing to trust. and take the step. So, hey, look, we hope that you'll be part of Fully Funded Life, be able to get access to that update that we do each and every March. Glad to provide it for you guys, answer any questions you may have. Hey, go have a great day. Learn one thing about finances. Maybe you need to bump up that percentage that you're contributing to your company retirement plan. You'll be so glad. Listen, do today what your future self 10 years from now will look back and say, I'm so glad I did that back then. Have a great Monday, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.